Hello, welcome to the Fit and Free Show with Auntie Angel. That's me, also known as ZGALA, the Art Angel. I'm on a good mood today. I've been in an increasingly good mood lately, and I want to say it's because I've been focusing on heart coherence, and so I would like to try to share a little of that with you today. And I'm also going to do some stretching and some letting go of stress. Heart coherence is something I've known about for decades, practiced in my own ways, but only recently started using a device to help me get some more biofeedback basically on how I'm doing, and it has been very illuminating. And so what I want to share with you is about what I have learned in the last week of using that device. And one of the main things is how quickly my thoughts will decrease my heart-mind coherence, which is measured by heart rate variability. And when you think about somebody walking in the room who's either calm and feeling secure, and you can just feel that, right? It makes you feel secure. Conversely, or as opposed to when someone comes into a room and they're all stressed out or chaotic, it can make your energy chaotic. And that's because we are electromagnetic beings. Not to get all metaphysical on you, but it's just a fact. You can measure it. So it's only metaphysical when we ignore the science that we currently have, which we do have plenty now to show that our hearts put out an electromagnetic field, just like the earth puts out an electromagnetic field. And when our hearts are beating coherently, as in like smoothly, then and in coherence with our minds and our thoughts and our authentic self, then we have that has a calming effect on us, and it has a calming effect on those around us. And when we don't, it doesn't. So one of the main ways that I have found that increase my heart-mind coherence within like less than a minute is deep, slow breathing. That's really, like, if you had no other tool, that would be a great tool to carry with you and to use in lieu of nothing else. And I think we do this instinctively when we feel ourselves getting stressed out. And there are many, many schools of thoughts over the centuries which have focused on breathing more slowly and more deeply. And that's something I try to promote on this channel and try to remind myself to do, and hopefully encourage you to do more often as well. But another, maybe less well-known aspect of this whole process is the way that our thoughts create a chemical cascade in our body. And I think many of us know this, but many of us are probably not aware how quickly that happens. It begins in a split second, maybe even a fraction of a second before we become aware of our own thoughts. There starts to be a chemical cascade in our bodies. And that chemical cascade actually, even though it starts so rapidly, actually can dissipate in a minute, or like maybe less than a minute, maybe a minute and a half, as different measurements, different schools of thought, but it's much more quickly than you might think. And the reason you might think it doesn't dissipate so quickly is because most of us have experienced having a negative thought and then feeling stressed out for minutes, hours, maybe even days or weeks. And that's because left undisciplined, the mind will keep grabbing for another thought that's similar to the thought it just had, and sort of loop around this stress loop, we could call it, or a trauma loop, I sometimes call it. And the reason I use the word undisciplined is because you can train your mind not to do that. We all can train our minds to become more, we can become more self-aware, recognize when we're having a thought that creates incoherence or discordance or dysregulation in our body, and instead of following that thought, we can use that thought as a like a trigger or a reminder to take a deep breath, let it go, reset the system. Another really kind of astounding thing that I have discovered in using this device recently is how almost any thought can start to decrease my coherence. So you might think that it's only the thoughts that are really upsetting, and indeed, the really upsetting thoughts are even more, create a stronger chemical cascade in the body, even more dysregulating. However, even like a minor thought about, a little fleeting thought about someone or something that's, it's not even like it needs to be a negative thing, but it's just sort of a disturbance in the force, so to speak, a disturbance in the energetic flow in and out of the heart. And I don't know that any of us can get through life without some of that. If we have a brain online, that's our brain's job, is to think about things, to notice things that are out of sorts, to ponder, to try to come to conclusions. And that's a beautiful thing. But the discipline part comes in, again, recognizing when that's starting to create dysregulation or going in a direction that really doesn't serve the goals that we're trying to reach towards. So for me, one of my goals is to be more calm and coherent, mainly because it's more healthy, and I'm watching my own body age, and I've watched people around me lose their health to that frequent chronic negative thinking loop. Trauma is the extreme form of it, but just even the minor stresses, the little bitches, the little flare-ups, which anyone who knows me knows I have many of in a day. It's those stresses that over time can end up ruining our health, basically. Of course, the big traumas can as well, but so can the little straws that break the camel's back, so to speak. So I think it's good to have that knowledge that it's a very quick thing that happens, and that it's a very easy thing to dissipate when you know the tool. And the tool is to focus on the heart, to breathe in love and appreciation, breathe out love and appreciation to yourself and others. And it's much more of a feeling than a thought. This is what I'm discovering, again, with the help of this biofeedback device. It's making it very obvious that as soon as I take my attention away from that feeling of feeling connected, of feeling open, expansive, loving, grateful, and start to think about things, even if it's thinking about like my own coherence, it will start to plummet that. So I'm sharing that off the cuff because I found it useful, and I hope you find it useful too. Isn't the light amazing in here this time of day? This is the Head Hutt Mega-Sculpture, by the way, which I built with these two hands, and I'm now sitting inside of. I love to sit inside of regularly, and I also wrote a book about it, put that book on Amazon, and put a link to that book in the description below. So if you're interested in finding out more, do check that out, and I thank you if you do. Let's do a few deep breaths and just focus on that heart coherence, breathing in love and acceptance and listening and gratitude, whatever word resonates with you. It's not really the word, it's the feeling, like I was trying to get across. So I'm going to do, at least 5 deep, slow breaths in and out, and really try to bring my own attention to my own heart. Sometimes it helps to actually put hands over the heart. Sometimes it helps to press palms together and feel your own presence in your own hands. You can put your hands on your belly. You can put your hands out with palms up. You can just put them in your lap, hold on to your drink. Whatever suits you is perfectly fine. I do find that the more intentional I get about all of it, the better results I get. So I'm gonna add a little bit of shoulder shrugging to my first 3 breaths. And now that I've said all that, I'm gonna try to do 10 breaths, 3 with the shoulder shruggings to kind of get myself into the rhythm and slow down and deepen the breathing, and then another 7 more for good measure. So if you care to join me, I invite you to do that, and let's begin. If you join me, I thank you. I'd love to know how that felt to you. I know that was pretty quick, and I know I might have done an extra 1 or 2. It's hard to count and focus on not counting at the same time, but you can let me know how I did. I had thoughts coming up, as I frequently do, while I was trying to be present and not thinking, and I think that's pretty natural and normal and happens to most of us. I do think with practice that we can cultivate that ability to stop thinking. I've listened to some people share how that process can happen, both like a Gestalt thing more rapidly, like Eckhart Tolle describes, and Sadhguru, I think, has a version of that he talks about in different words. And then many other people have that happen more gradually with practice. That's probably the camp that I am more in. Yeah, I'd love to know if any of that resonates with you, what thoughts you have. So if you care to share, please do put that in the comments and I will reply. I thank you for being you and let me be me. Let's do a quick stretch because I think I promised I was going to do that and then I didn't. So just as a follow-up, we'll do a quick arm stretching for good measure. Bringing one arm across the body. Rotating that shoulder while it's in the stretch position, winging that arm back. These are great to do at least once a day, if not several times. If you're like me and you're doing a lot of stuff with your hands in front of you, I'm making this motion because a lot of us are doing this, doing all of that. It's a good demonstration in how thoughts will come up. I think a good meditation practice is about noticing, witnessing, listening to those without holding on to them, which is, again, a practice. It's something that gets easier with practice. It's something that's good to do every day, much like the stretches. And it's a process, not a destination. So don't beat yourself up if you feel like you never arrive. It's about doing the process and hopefully improving along the way. A little bit better, adding some arm circles here. Let's do some shoulder rolls. I don't know if you can hear all that ka-chunking going on in my shoulders. Got some good ka-chunks. Let's do a little just shaking it off. Shaking it out, letting go of the stresses, letting go of the overthinking, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you love yourself a little bit more if you can, because you're worth it. And until next time, I'll be seeing you. Ciao for now. Peace.